One of the key areas of leadership and interaction, particularly in the organisational sphere, is that of providing feedback. It's a fundamental part of people development, of performance management, and of the ability to ensure that things happen on time as they should happen. And yet, when we talk about feedback, you can feel the lead balloon drop. Oh, feedback. Because we've all been in the situation of either somebody saying to us, Jeff, can I give you some feedback? And you go, oh, yes, please, that'd be fine. I'd like to know. And deciding, oh God, here it comes. Some people have been on feedback courses and they call it the shit sandwich. Yeah? They say, if you give one bit of good news, feedback, another bit of good feedback, then you give the bit that could be improved, and then just so they go off feeling good, you give them another bit of something that went well. Well, of course, once you know it, as soon as somebody starts saying this was good, you go, okay, there's one, there's the other, there it is. And it doesn't matter, there's something about us as human beings that people could tell us 100 things we do well, and they tell us one thing that really didn't go that well, and as we walk away, what are we thinking about? The 100 things that went well, or the one thing that didn't go very well? Usually the latter, because it's triggered a little bit of that fear response, and we're trying to sort it out and make ourselves feel better about it. And then if you're someone that has to give feedback from a leadership position, or maybe you're coaching a sporting team, or you're talking to your kids and trying to work out with them how to do something, or even doing their homework, we get quite tense about, oh God, I've got to say this, and how do I do it? It's called the difficult conversation. One of the reasons is we're telling ourselves a story about how the other person might react. And then we start reacting to the own story we're telling, and oh, this is going to be really difficult, and then out it comes and doesn't happen. So one of the reasons that feedback is so difficult is because we worry about it, and that creates its own problems, of course. However, if you take a high-level sporting team, an international football team, or an international rugby team, or an international sports person, tennis player, sailor, they pay people a lot of money to give them very direct feedback, very direct. Why? Because they want to get better. They will do anything to improve their performance. If they played an international football or rugby game, the first thing they see when they go in on Monday morning is the video of what they did. No escape, no hedging it. You messed up here, you dropped that ball, you missed that kick, you fluffed that goal, you passed to the wrong person. There for them to see. And the question they ask is, how can I do it better next time? And that's the key thing. In a truly high-performing organisation, or in a truly open, transparent, positive relationship, you never have to use the dreaded words, can I give you some feedback? Because before you can do that, the other person has said, how can I do it better next time? Has anyone you know, you've watched them do a presentation or provide a paper, and it's really good and they know it's good, and do they then say, I know it's good, but how can I do it better next time? If you get people saying that, you have achieved an amazing cultural environment for your team or for your organisation, or even for your family. What does that need? It needs to understand, or that person to understand, that it's in their interest to do it better. If you look at the alignment of authenticity and aspiration that we talked about in another video, if I'm doing this primarily for myself, I want to do it in the best way I can. So I will ask, how can I do it better? Now, in other situations, it's a bit more difficult. And there, the use of the GROW model, and those of you who've done coaching will know GROW, goal, reality, options, and will, can be applied so that you don't have to give feedback, but that the individual is enabled to give themselves feedback. That demands, or it rests upon, the clarity of contracting before the event. As a very simple example, somebody that works for you is going to do a presentation to your team of your peers, and you've worked with them, they've done the presentation, and you've agreed the objective. The objective is 100%. Does the presentation, goes reasonably well, but you don't get 100%, you get 75, 80%. And as you're walking out, the person that works for you is probably thinking, oh, I didn't do very well there, and they're expecting feedback. And part of them is defending themselves against it because they know they didn't do as well and they're not feeling great about it, and they know and you know that they know that you know, and all that complication gets in the way. Well, you can just bypass that entirely because you knew what the goal was. What was the goal? Okay, so what did we go in there and what did we want? We wanted 100%, says the person. Okay, what did we get? We got 75%. Okay, what caused us? This is exploring the reality of the grow model. What caused us to get 75%? Well, I didn't have that particular piece of paper or data that the finance director asked for. I really didn't realize that that other person was going to be there, and they brought a whole different perspective. And I wasn't aware that the other person had this particular take on it. Okay, and that derailed you, did it? Yes, it did. So what needs to happen next time? What options do we have to learn from this? Well, next time, I'm certainly going to check out the financial data in more detail for the FD. I'm going to be very clear about who's attending the meeting and what their purpose in attending the meeting is. And I'm going to make sure I've actually spoken to everybody beforehand to find out what their individual concerns and issues are with the topic in hand. And when I've done that, then I'll be much better placed to get 100% at the end. So what will you do? Well, I will do this, and you work out a plan. You've not actually said anything. You've not given a directive, you've not made a comment. All you've done is ask questions and enabled that individual to give themselves feedback. And all you need to be clear on and agreed on and unified on is the goal in the first place.